Alright, welcome to the training on registrations. This first sheet I want to go over is for every single student to fill out. It is through the community college itself, and it's so that they can register for our non-credit course through the college. This is how the college itself recognizes that there are students in the class. Let's get a closer look. This form is for students to fill out, and then it's for office use only, so the additional sections on here you do not have to worry about. But right now I'm going to go through the sections that I would really appreciate it if you double checked were all filled out before students left the class on the first day. This entire upper box here is essentially what we need from them. That includes social security, last name, first name, date of birth, gender, ethnicity and race, one of the phone numbers, it doesn't matter which one, and their address. It also doesn't matter if they have no email address. This bottom section here is their residency/citizenship status. This is mostly for the college to determine whether they're eligible for a tuition waiver. As the class is free, that's really not necessary for our students, but they still have to fill that part out. Some of our newer forms for BCCC have this section done already for our students. For example, they're all either refugees or permanent residents if they're taking the class. And they've all been a Maryland resident for at least 3 months if they're taking the class. The only thing down here they should really have to check is the residence, and it'll either be Maryland County if they're in Montgomery or Baltimore City. The last part that they need to fill out is at the very bottom, and it's their signature and the date. It's very, very important that they've signed this, because without the signature it's not a valid form anymore, and we would have to ask you to have them redo it and bring it to us again. So this is very, very important. Some of the other parts we might be able to fill in from our records of them taking the class previously. For example, we can always pull up their social if they're a returning student. The signature we cannot forge. So double check always that they've signed this, and once again this form is for everyone in the class. So registration for all goes through the community college. The next registration form I want to show you is only for new participants. It is this form. So this is called New Participant Data Form. This will either be handed to you as a blue sheet, a white sheet, or a pink sheet, depending on what grant funds your class, and that is for us to figure out, so you don't have to worry about it. But we would ask that once we start giving you a color, please do not print it on a different color. So this participation sheet has mostly the same information as the other sheet on the top. So social, name, address, number, gender, date of birth, and a different section is country of origin. Another very important new part to this is their alien registration number. This is also called their A number, and it can be found on their green card. Also, residence date can be found on their green card where it says resident since, and that's usually at the very bottom of the card. Legal status, you'll have to ask them about it. It doesn't actually tell you on the green card. So most people are going to be immigrants, but it's always worth asking in case they are a refugee. And then next, the naturalization process. So this is very helpful in finding out where students are in the naturalization process. If they have not applied yet, this can be kind of confusing. So usually teachers will ask the student individually and then fill that in front of them. And then this bottom part, how did you hear about the class? That can also be confusing, so sometimes I usually go over this with the whole class when people are registering, unless it's just 1 or 2 late registering people. But once you start explaining it, people generally understand pretty quickly. Then at the very bottom, class site, so we know what class they're coming from, CASA's pretest date, and CASA's pretest score. Because, as we learned in our last training, the attendance sheet is updated based on the registration, If you have already tested them, then I will be able to input the test scores into our database, and I will be able to add the test scores to your attendance already. So that'll save you about 30 minutes of inputting those scores if you just write them at the bottom here. Then that's on me. And then always important, instructor signature and date. So this registration is for new students, and it's really a tool so that you can fill in any gaps in the data that we have on them. Their alien registration number or A number, test scores, interview process, how they heard about the program, and where they're coming from. This is, again, only for new students. So, combined, those are the two registration forms, the USCIS form and the Baltimore City Community College form. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you.